with that, let's talk about the value. So I kind of already touched on a few cases, but resource limitations, kind of jumps back again to that SMB sort of model where you might not have the resources to dedicate to researching every single vulnerability. It's something we hear where customers might switch to our tool, is that they're using a tool which is scanning their vulnerabilities, but it's just so much data to parse through and try to understand how they can deploy these fixes, and then getting into sort of the logistics of developing a script that works for the needs of their environment. Maybe they've got some sort of custom implementation or something similar that makes it more difficult than standard. So there's just a lot of consideration. And again, we find a lot of teams don't necessarily have access to some of the individuals that allow that process to happen. They don't have a dedicated threat researcher or developer or someone who's proficient in PowerShell or Python or Bash or any other language that would help to facilitate that. It's also a great way, even if you're a larger organization who does have those things, scripts are a great way to amplify the actions that those teams are providing. You can deploy something at scale, something that's repeatable or might be very manual. You can automate through a script. So there's quite a lot of benefit in terms of getting more output out of whatever level of resource that you have access to. In terms of multiple console operations, this is something that we see quite often. Organizations, especially today, they're in very distributed workloads across many different sites and working from home, cloud, colo, on-prem, multiple cloud instances, multiple domains, all of these different things. So being able to, again, sort of amplify that remediation potentially or whatever the script is doing across that entire environment with a single click in some cases, again, allows you to deliver that at scale, which is otherwise not necessarily possible. And then, this is kind of an ongoing battle. It's not something that we can deploy once and be done with it. New vulnerabilities are coming out, new tasks are needing to take place. So the fact that we can take one script to automate that process and get everything baselined to let's say, a specific remediation in place, we can then modify that script for a future vulnerability or for a future task which might be similar, so that we can maintain the environment much more effectively. So those are some of the different value propositions that we see with our customers' environments. There's of course many more, but these were a few that we wanted to go ahead and highlight.
Yeah, the only thing I want to add here is that we brought these problems mainly because these are not isolated problems. For example, let's say multiple console operations. It usually requires more resources, more resources, more people, and when we bring those resources, we require more constant maintenance that requires multiple console operations that require more resources. And yeah, these are not isolated problems, and that's why we brought them here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see, up at the top there, the kind of the title of this slide is that many vulnerabilities are not patchable. Some may require a configuration change in addition to a patch, or maybe there is no patch and the only fix that the vendor recommends is configuration change of some kind. And that's really where, in the security context, scripting is going to be a great resource for your team.